Hey guys, this is Kale the Quick here on our 1-year anniversary episode of Sounding Board. I'm here today with some people who've been with us for a while, kind of behind the scenes, and other people who've been up front. We have Feather, who actually hasn't been on an episode of Sounding Board with us yet. How you doing, Feather?
Oh, not too bad.
That's fantastic, or not too bad. And we got Jonan as well.
Hi, I'm Jonan. I've been here for a while.
Yeah. And of course, Surrealism, who was with us on the first and 0th episode.
Hey, I'm pretty much always here.
Yeah. And then Caldwin, who was on the Dark episode that was forgotten and lost to time, but we don't talk about that one. How you doing, Caldwin?
I think it's called a pilot.
Shut up.
Hi.
Hey, guys. So we've been doing this for a year, kinda.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've periodically done it and started a year ago. I don't know if that counts,
That
but
kind of counts, like
It's sorta.
episodes of a series.
yeah, well, I mean, we haven't really done. We stopped for a long time.
That's fair.
Well, yeah, but we've been doing it regularly for the whole year, so that's cool.
We never stopped being the people who had done it.
Yeah, yes.
And no one can
You
take.
are not wrong.
No one can take that from us, guys.
All right, but tonight we do have a topic. Our focus for the evening is mechanics that express social bonds with people, like the social links in the Persona series, if you've played that, influence in just every BioWare game.
Friendship and affection in Pokemon.
Yeah,
All right.
that express how your feelings or how your connection to another person influences the actual gameplay.
And all those unseen values in those dating sims. I know you play them, whoever's listening. I know you play them.
You mean you?
I mean, eventually you will listen to it again, so it counts.
Jonan, take the laundry from the wash and put it in the dryer. When you listen to this again, it'll be important. Anyways.
Speaking to you from another place in time.
And space.
Stupid orbit. All right, so yeah, social systems, what you're saying. You already kind of listed off a couple examples, like the BioWare games and dating sims, of course, so they keep all that kind of stuff under the hood.
And
Under the hood.
Get out of here.
anyway, in general, these systems fall into a pretty, well, they function fairly simply. You do things that a person likes, you increase their liking you meter, and that unlocks usually dialogue options, and sometimes, if this is a combat game, makes them more powerful in some way.
It gives you more feats like in Fallout New Vegas.
So what we're going to talk about tonight is how these different mechanics vary between games, and then try to pitch our own improved version.
Yeah, so
I think we brought
make a
it
better
up.
social game.
We brought it up because we were complaining about Grand Theft Auto 4 and having to go bowling with your
Oh,
cousin.
God, you're right.
Hey,
Every
Nico!
day.
Nico, it's your cousin, Roman! Let's go bowling!
No.
I don't like bowling.
Okay,
I hate you.
call you another time. Like,
I love you, brother. Or cousin.
cousin, brother,
They're best
whatever.
ever. I played the game. I'm a real gamer.
You know, honestly, okay, so you're supposed to kind of hate Roman. That's kind of part of the game. He
Oh.
lied to you. You came to the
God.
country. But if you actually do hang out with him, there's a lot of really cool dialogue between him and Nico that I think a lot of people ignore, because all you can remember when you think of him is, I gotta go pretend to like darts. Like, it's like real life. I gotta go pretend to like this person for a while.
It's like Thanksgiving, but I have to play it as a game.
The worst part is you can't even combine all of your family members into your one fake Thanksgiving. You
Yeah.
have to do a separate one with each of them.
The bonus is stack. No, I don't.
I can't hang out with it's like I have to hang out with Roman because he's my cousin, but I wanted to hang out with that really cool like Rastafarian guy because like I like the dialogue with him. So
So, like this, I guess, would be our first thing there, is combining the events. So, like, you would introduce your friends to other friends, so that if those friends like each other, then you could, like, do the activity at the same time. Like, would that be kind of an option that you could do?
I'm starting to think about Mountain Blade, the kind of issues that we had with some party members hating each other.
Yeah.
Like,
Just
surrealism.
feed them enough, they'll stop caring.
Is that how you get them to stop caring about each other?
Worked for me.
So in Mountain Blade,
It works in real
different
life.
characters like some characters and hate others, and it constantly lowers their morale if they're with characters they like. But if you keep a wide variety of high quality food, that increases party morale. So you can just get them to ignore it because they're so well fed.
It's
They don't
important.
want to fight.
It's important to mention that this
Which
is
is actually Thanksgiving. Wow.
Oh.
I to lay down now.
Full circle.
It's important to note that this is a medieval life simulator, Mountain Blade. So being fed a variety of foods is like astronomically different than it is today.
It's also
how
really
kings
hard to manage because like beef spoils in 4 days.
Yeah, beef spoils before your army can eat it.
Okay, so combining social experiences in a game that's like, if you're actually trying to make every social experience into a significant part of the game, then you'd have to write dialogue for every possible combination and every social activity. So that would be an entire game unto itself if you really want to do that. If you don't want to do that, then you could just, say, you, Nikolai, and Rastafarian guy went bowling. You enjoyed it. You're now friends for a little while until they bother you again.
Yeah, you'd see like little numbers pop up. Boop, boop.
Oh, actually,
Or keep it invisible.
you could do what they do in a couple of games and have characters have a certain stock bit of things they say when they're dragged along to a social engagement. It's not as great as just kind of working a full dialogue thing, but just having a token amount of, and also Sasuke is there. I don't know. I'm just picturing dragging Sasuke to a social engagement.
So what are some games that really, like even beyond game mechanics, just kind of get the social aspect really well?
Oof.
I've heard of I haven't played it, but I've heard of this thing called the Persona series, and that it does social stuff well. Have any of you played that?
Yes.
Yeah, I've played through Persona 4 at least.
Well, how does that work? I've never actually played it. So for our viewers at home and also me, what the hell is that?
All right, so Persona is a Japanese panel RPG, but it's significant in that the actual running around fighting monsters thing is a relatively small part of the game. A much bigger part of the game is the social link system, where at different times of the day as the game progresses and on different days, different friends might be available, and you can approach them and ask them if they want to hang out. And sometimes they'll approach you, and based on your interactions during these social engagements, which are pre-scripted, and as you become better friends with them, you'll trigger different events. The things you say to them and the things you do increase how much they like you, or decrease it if you really mess up.
All right.
One of the things I liked about Persona 4, at least, was I feel like they solved the equation problem of if these people are in high school and saving the world, why are they also saying, oh, I got to do this test tomorrow, but also I need to stop the world from ending? It's like, you could just take a sabbatical. I mean, if the world's going to end, they say, oh, well, your friendships and doing normal things actually makes the spirits you summon stronger. So then your character then strategically says, okay, I need to hang out with that weird kid in math class because it will then make my arcana of the hanged man stronger so I can summon a more powerful spirit of darkness.
Okay, so in what I'm gathering is that in Persona, you would kind of go on a side quest, like your own kind of Zuko trip with someone.
You go on Zuko trips
and
with
then
everyone.
depending on how well you Zuko your trip would Zuko appropriately.
Yes.
Yeah, and you would sometimes choose. You would sometimes choose to interact with people because they would empower the spirits you liked, but you would also might choose spirits that represented the people you liked hanging out with. Because let me tell you, some of those characters were friggin' annoying. Hanged man, honestly,
He was a dick.
Yeah.
Really, I wouldn't have talked to him
So-
except for the fact that the metaphysical forces that be said he was important.
The other games that I know that really kind of people like the social aspect of are like some of the BioWare RPGs, like Mass Effect was one, and then also the Dragon Age, I guess, kind of took it to its natural conclusion. And then before that, other stuff like Baldur's Gate and Knights of the Old Republic, those kind of things.
Took it to its natural conclusion. What do you mean?
Well, I haven't played the latest Dragon Age, but I heard that it was really like just a half dating simulator.
I've played it, and I will say I was pleasantly surprised at how good it was. But I did have a suboptimal team combination just because there were certain characters that I just hated. And unlike KOTOR, where I can be like, okay, I don't like him, but it doesn't impact me too much. It's like, Sarah, I just don't fucking want you in my party.
He won't shut up.
she's quote unquote quirky, and I hate anytime BioWare writes a quirky character.
Mm-hmm. Their
Mostly
quirks are
because-
too powerful.
The quirks are too powerful.
I won't lie. By the time I get to play Mass Effect Andromeda, I will probably be going through it so carefully so as to
Yeah.
not accidentally romance someone.
Yeah.
Did you accidentally romance Liara? Oh no, that was the.
I went out of my way.
No, you-
I saved before every time
accidentally-
before
you
we're
accidentally slept
talking.
with someone.
Yeah, no,
It was
the
happens all the
sorry
time.
consort.
yes. Because apparently that's the renegade option.
Yeah, Renegade, you banger. I guess.
Any-
Anything with your mind boner.
Oh, actually, Feather, you played Infinite Undiscovery. I didn't get too far in that game.
Oh man.
Was there any
So
kind
many
of what was the interaction between characters like?
Yeah, did the title really live up to that?
Did you learn anything?
You learn nothing forever. That's the whole point of the game. I wouldn't say there's so much like that affects the game mechanic wise, but the more that you interact with the different characters, the more little snippets that the main character Capel thinks about them, and you can go back and you can read in a little log like his developing opinions of each of the characters. And like again, it doesn't really affect gameplay or combat or anything really, but it's fun to go back and see his developing
Keep trying,
thoughts.
little man.
Keep trying, little man.
I don't even. I only vaguely get why he said that about the fighter.
I
I have suspicions, but there's a fighter with a two-handed sword, and the only commentary the main character has at first is "Keep trying, little man." And we're just like, is that like a dick joke?
I don't know. And
Maybe.
you'll never know. Forever.
Maybe.
Infinity. You'll undiscover.
undiscovered.
Don't learn
I
anything.
know less now than I did at the beginning.
But what's interesting is that there's no actually mechanical incentive for that, and yet it was fun.
It was.
I mean, sometimes that's its own reward. Sometimes you go digging around and you learn stuff. It's like in Pokemon. They originally introduced a friendship mechanic for making Pokemon. If you make them happy, some of them will evolve, and some attacks will do more damage, like Return. Return does more damage based on how much your Pokemon likes you. They had a Frustration made you stronger how much they hate you, but because they like you more when they win battles, Frustration, you had to go out of your way to abuse Pokemon to make a move that was as same strength as one if they liked
It's
you.
beautiful. It's like
Also,
raising a child.
It's still a dick move.
Yeah, it's just
Well, I mean, what if it's a Mr. Mime?
Mr. Mime. I feel like Mr.
Little
Mime.
cruel.
He knows what he did.
He's like anyway.
In a box.
Later they introduced a mechanic of affection, which was separate from friendship somehow. Where the more you groomed your Pokemon,
I don't need that kind of relationship with my Pokemon.
I
Thank
do.
you.
The more you
They jump up and lick your face.
It's-
They love you.
yeah, you can pet your Pokemon in a little like game, and then you can also like play stuff with them to make them have more affection. And there's some Pokemon that evolve with affection separately from friendship. But the thing about affection is they changed. Like you don't need to do affection; it doesn't matter if you don't deal with it. It shouldn't matter too much. But if you're more affectionate with a Pokemon, it changes the text that appears when you're waiting for your next turn. Instead of no text, it'll say, Lucario is awaiting your orders, or Lucario is ready for action, or it'll say like
So it adds more pointless dialogue to the Pokemon game.
Awesome.
it doesn't really add it to there just as much as it's it then later influences like if your Pokemon takes a critical hit, they can endure the critical hit because they want to make sure that you're proud of them.
I don't know. If it made me click through an extra pop-up every time I took a turn, I'd probably take the death.
No, Jesus Christ, man!
He just hates pop-ups.
You know you
man.
can turn off the animation on attacks if you want to go out.
Don't remember the
Really?
internet in the 90s.
You never knew about that?
No!
If you go to the
I
start
just
menu
quit!
in any Pokemon game, if you go to the start menu, go to the settings, you can turn off attack animations, and it makes the game a lot more boring.
It's already pretty monotonous. I mean, how many
That's
times can you
only
walk a
because you have
sprite
to
whiz across the
grind.
street?
Many.
Level grind.
Yeah.
Level grind.
They did a lot of
Level
things to
grind.
take care of that. But anyways, they give you like experience share right in the beginning, and it doesn't cut into your XP anymore. But it doesn't add more dialogue to click through. It's like the blank part that says what will they use next, and says different things. It just changes it more than adding it.
All right.
No, the only
Then I guess
Pokemon
they can
game
live.
I ever played was Leaf Green, so I can't say I'm really knowledgeable about the mechanics of Pokemon. I mean, I watched a show when I was a kid, but other than that, it was the game I didn't have. So, like, do we have anything else, like in terms of examples for social things? Because all that's coming to mind
Well-
for me is like The Sims.
Sims, that's all right. Huh, I forgot about that.
It's worth mentioning Valkyria Chronicles,
Hmm.
which I don't know if any of you played.
Nope.
Uh,
Mm-mm.
Without going into too much detail, It's a strategy game, World War II level technology, some fantastic elements.
Awesome.
Oh,
I
yeah, I've
quit
heard about
because I
that.
got frustrated with how often I would hit invisible things instead of my enemies.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
That's what
But-
I think Rule 35 of Easter egg productions is to not have invisible shit.
We have 35 rules.
No.
just the one.
Okay.
Anyway, so it had mechanics to represent interpersonal relations. You never built on them, but a bunch of your characters had come from the same school, and they
Were
would
you in
get-
high school?
No.
Okay.
These were all graduates who'd been drafted into the war out of school.
Oh wow, that's a little
They're
deeper than I
not
thought it would be.
graduates. Anyway, but like, for example, one girl had a crush on the main character and would get a defense boost if she fought near him.
Huh.
And another character just really hated being around women and would lose, I think, evasion when around women. So
No, we all.
this was the case of a mechanic that represented social interaction, but like not. There was no role play element. There were no choices
Okay.
that you made, and it didn't change over the course of the game.
You couldn't give the guy therapy or something.
No. Other than that, though, we've talked about. Well, you mentioned briefly the move frustration in Pokemon, giving you a bonus if your Pokemon hates you. I know that one of the Dragon Ages did that.
Oh, Dragon Age 2!
You unlock content with a character if they really hate you as opposed to love you.
I actually kind of dug that. In Dragon Age 2, it's friends or rivals is kind of what they went for. And when someone has positive relationship with you, you unlock their positive bonus on their tree. And then if it got negative, you'd unlock the negative bonuses. Some characters, it was actually good to have them hate you. And some characters, it was easier to make them hate you than like you. One of my favorite things they did was there's one character who was a prince. And he was the third in line for succession. And his kingdom has been kind of taken over by extended family. And if you were friends with him, then he became encouraged to let go of his ambition. But if you were his antagonistic rival and partner, then you'd actually encourage him to seize what was his. That was a character that I actually went out of my way to say, I need to disagree with him to challenge his beliefs because I want him to grow up to take back the kingdom that was his because his people need that. He can't just accept the fact that his kingdom is being taken over by his oppressive family.
Oh man, now how much more entertaining would Knights of the Old Republic 1 have been with that option?
For Karth?
Yeah, for Karth.
Oh my
The
god.
man just followed me around sighing. Karth seems sad. You have to talk to him. And then, of course, if you actually follow his social interactions to their conclusion, you end up romancing him. You're playing a female character.
I knew it.
Just awful. I told you
Caldwin-
what you needed to do.
Still,
Caldwin, I don't think you hated Karth that much.
I don't hate him, but I don't want to accidentally romance someone.
There's only-
I'm going to
okay.
pick who I can have a
Okay.
relationship.
Caldwin,
There's
Caldwin,
one
It
guy.
is my choice.
Caldwin, if you're a male in KOTOR, there's only one person you can have a relationship with. And if you're a female, there's only two people you have a relationship with. And one of them,
Zalbar, right?
it's not Zalabar.
Damn it.
It's Juhani. You can have a relationship with Juhani.
Yeah, I know.
And
But
it's...
why would you?
Okay, as much as I love cat
Yes.
people, she's kind
You
of
can't
not
have a
that
relationship
interesting.
with someone who's dead, guys. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. No, but seriously, if you just had a chance to, when a character annoyed you, smack them across the face and like make them angry instead of having to reassure them, that would be way more satisfying and give you way more options of playing other than
That's
pursue this content or don't pursue this
that
content.
is like a trope, like in stuff, like someone's being all down and stuff, and then you smack them, and you're like, "Get your shit together."
Yeah, although in that
We're storming
case,
Normandy.
you always, it secretly turns out that they needed to be smacked. In this, I'm talking about hitting someone in their lowest moment when they're being a bitch. And they hate you, but it does change your interactions.
That's one of the things that
what they need,
Dragon
not what
Age
they
2,
want.
Yeah.
what Dragon Age 2 really,
Or what you
really
need.
did right. I mean, Dragon Age 2 had a lot of issues. A lot of issues.
Oh god, I know.
But-
I literally told that to the developer's face when I met them at not E3, but it was Panera Gate Expo.
You
Like
did?
I went and did there, and I was like, "Oh, why did you change all the mechanics?" And they just like looked at me until I left the booth.
Who was it? Was it Mac the
I
Hack?
don't know. It was
Anyway.
one little.
Moving on.
Anyway, moving on. I have a lot of opinions about BioWare.
Yeah.
But they're conflicting. But Dragon Age 2 had a couple of good things, and one of them was the rivalry system, because some characters, like with the Prince, Sebastian, you needed to smack sense into him, because if you just told him what he wanted to hear, he doesn't have the ambition to take his family's kingdom back. And, some characters, their rivalry just worked. I mean, if you were rivals with the angsty elf guy with the two-handed sword, he got way stronger.
All right.
It was my favorite character, by the way. He was a little deeper than he looked on the surface.
Can you remember his name?
Yes. Yeah, but he was my boyfriend, too.
Wow, that says a lot.
I haven't played that game in, 5 years.
Excuses.
If he was your favorite character and you can't remember him, too bad.
Yeah, what was it? Fenris.
Okay, it's like the coolest name. How could you forget that?
It wasn't his real name.
This is no one's real name. It's Fenris.
It was his slave name. Anyways,
In the bedroom.
Yeah. Anyway.
let's not go into that.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Wait, you played Dragon Age 2?
Yeah.
Like the second
All
one?
right. So, what did you think about the rival system, Heather?
I personally never utilized it a whole lot because friends with everybody. I can't be an asshole.
Kiss ass.
Yep.
The only person that wasn't
It's just because they didn't have
honestly, the only people I wasn't friends with was Sebastian because I wanted him to get stronger. He was the DLC character.
No,
So-
no, but I mean,
And,
personality like
I hate Anders. Anders is
All
a
right,
piece of
so
shit.
how do we, for us here at Easter Egg Productions, do something better that models kind of a thing? So I'm gathering there's kind of obviously most things one axis of they like you or they hate you.
Yeah. Well,
Is there a way we can expand on human social interaction without me needing to get a PhD?
yeah, pretty much. All of these mechanics have one thing in common. They're just measuring how much someone likes you, which is not actually all that useful. For example, if you're just, like you said, telling your prince what he wants to hear, he might like you, but would he actually follow your orders? Would this guy trust you? If you decide to leave a family outside of your city's walls because the zombie monsters are attacking, and if you open the gate, then they might get in, people will hate you, but they might think you make good decisions.
Yeah,
So at the very least, adding a mechanic that tracks whether they trust you, as opposed to just whether they like you.
trust or respect, maybe.
Yeah.
Going off of that, kind of switching gears towards games like Long Live the Queen,
Oh my God.
where
Yes.
if you do talk to someone and you kind of make friends-ish with them later on down the game, depending on how much you've talked to them, they would either help or not. Trying to phrase what I want to say. Words are really hard right now, but
yeah.
Would that kind of be on a separate axis?
Just how well they know you.
Yes.
Although I think if you
Because-
just had a few low impact, or if you had a few encounters that had really high impact, then that might have the same effect.
Fair.
So it's definitely easier to get an extreme result with someone you interact with a lot, and you probably couldn't achieve results without spending a minimum amount of time with
I
them.
think it's more if you have some degree of any one of the 4 directions, then you're more memorable.
What for?
Yeah. Like
Plus or
dislike,
minus in either
trust,
axis.
distrust.
Yeah.
So what if you really, really like someone but really, really don't trust them? What kind of relationship is that?
Yeah,
with
let's codify the quadrants,
Your dog.
I guess.
Your idiot dog that
No,
always
that
needs
is
help.
so true, though.
You're Deonin.
I have to lock my dogs away from everything because I don't trust them. They will get into them. I still like them a lot.
Do you?
I don't trust them though.
Then on
That's
the
a really
opposite side, you
Yeah.
have your commanding officer. You hate that bastard. He makes you dig holes for no reason, but he will keep you alive.
But I'm certain
So-
that there is a secret reason I'm digging this hole. I hate this hole.
And whether some character likes you for doing things that make them trust you or not would tell you a lot about them. So that's quick and easy characterization too, just
you
in the bargain.
See that in a lot of I can't think of a single example in my head. I'm sure one of you can fill me in here. But just you see that in shows and stuff where there's the person that makes the tough decisions and he
Adama,
got those people killed and stuff.
for Battlestar
But-
Galactica.
That was the right thing to do. So I trust him, but
Wasn't that-
I'm sure we all have a friend that you would trust with your back in a fight, but you wouldn't trust with a beer,
No.
Well, that's more trusting multiple things, but it's trusting them to have your back in a fight, but not wanting to invite them to an ice cream picnic.
Yeah. Speaking
All
of
right.
which, the ice cream picnic, that's still on for next Tuesday?
No, it was canceled. It wasn't canceled.
Okay.
That sucks. I would hate to miss it.
I think, like if you think about like the archetypical characters, like let's think about like every BioWare RPG seems to have a couple of archetypical characters that they reuse for everything. So let's say where they kind of start on the spectrum, like the Garrus character, the young upstart that you're guiding. He probably likes and trusts you right from the start.
Probably joins you because he trusts you specifically. Probably more trust than affection.
Right. Or
Affection
like
comes later.
maybe the old mentor character like Duncan from Dragon Age is more like than trust because you're
Well, yeah, you're the idiot he has to help.
especially Duncan. I don't know. I was kind of a strong.
Maybe not even a lot of like, depending on how you meet. But
that's true. I
need to fix you.
I did kind of threaten Duncan because he appeared in the Alienage. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing here?
You could amplify your initial interactions, like point gain, and every axis to convey how valuable a first impression is.
Yeah, you could have something modify the first impression too, like in Freelancer. You had your reputation with every single other faction, and each faction had their interpretation of how they liked every other faction. And so when you met a new faction, it would like kind of be based on who you knew and who your friends were, which would be your reputation, which would determine your standing with them. So like for Mass Effect, again, as an example, you show up as somewhere and you're a Spectre, people are going to kind of automatically trust you. That happens a lot like in the game. It was narratively done, kind of pre-scripted, obviously, because that was the game.
Well, there was at least one thing in Novaria where you can either introduce yourself as I'm Commander Shepard of the I'm a Spectre, or you can say I'm Commander Shepard of the Human Alliance.
Ah, yes.
And
just
so
throw all that credibility away.
Well, if you say you're of the Human Alliance, that's when you have to talk to someone long enough to get her to like download some information from them using a flash drive or something. You can say, "Oh, I'm with the Alliance. I'm with the Human Alliance. I'm looking for new gene mods. What can you tell me about your gene mods?" And you can just get them talking about that. And if you say you're a Spectre, you're saying like, "I want things for myself." And I've never failed that, so I don't know if you can fail it, but I felt like I had a choice.
That makes sense. Go into the details there, but yeah. Let's move on.
All right, so back to first impressions. In a lot of these games, you have two people out of your party that you can travel with, maybe more. Who you keep with you would have an effect on your first impression with a lot of people. Yeah. If this person really hates Krogan, but you're traveling with a Krogan, they're probably not going to like you.
I feel like that's happened at some point in the game. Like if you bring a sidekick with you somewhere that cuts off a dialogue option.
Bring Legion with you onto the Quarian ship.
Yeah, I really expected a bigger response there.
Yeah, that was pathetic.
That was. We've lost contact with our riders, Captain.
Oh man! Or like you walk if you walk into a new area and you've got Reaper on one side of you and Shadow the Hedgehog on the other, someone can make a judgment of who you are.
Yeah. You should go.
Oh, you meant Reaper from Overwatch.
Yeah, Reaper from
I
Overwatch.
had Sovereign in my
How
head.
is Sovereign going to float next to you?
That's what I thought too.
Well, I mean, he's dead, so now he's just. He looks like a cuttlefish, so he's automatically tinier in my head. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Reaper's probably another Sonic character.
All right. Okay. Reaper the
Anyways.
Hedgehog.
Reaper the Demon Fox.
I expect fan art.
All right.
Probably out there.
So that covered our first impressions, but back to trust, affection. You mentioned the mentor character. That's one of the standards.
Yeah.
It just occurred to me that if you can fight tooth and nail to get your mentor's trust up from the pit it starts in,
Right.
like what does it look like when your mentor starts to rely on you to lead them? Or do they just trust that you can handle this and leave?
I think they'd leave, actually.
If they survive that long.
That would.
Well, what if instead of dying, they just leave because you can handle it?
Oh, what if you're okay? All right, so from the writing perspective, it's easier to write if you get rid of the mentor. What if they willingly leave if the trust is high enough? If the trust is too low, then they die trying to save you.
Or if they just stay and like undermine you from the rest of the group
I
because
like that a little better.
They're trying to be the leader.
Depends on how much they like you. If they like you and they don't trust you, they die saving you.
Yeah.
But if they don't like you and they don't trust you, they'll undermine you.
Because
And
it's still
will leave
important
you
to
to
get
die
things done.
because they don't care if you're alive.
Can you imagine if one of the endings of a game was you get left to die after the final boss?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
It
sounds
kind
right.
of reminds me
I
of
could imagine that. Sounds
Zaid's
awesome.
mission, where you can just leave him behind under that beam.
Okay, I didn't know that was possible.
Dick move.
You're a monster for having figured that out.
Yeah, it's
Zaid wasn't even a character.
Zaid was the best character.
Zaid was the best character. He was
Um,
he was free.
He was like all of the like military shooter shit they took out of the first one.
Oh,
They
and,
put it in a guy and then they let him die.
he was the voice actor for Jurassic Park, the one who said "clever girl." So
Nice. Awesome.
I did like his voice and his snarky ass attitude.
I don't know what his voice sounded like.
He was free.
Was he in the game?
I mean,
not
he had
initially. You had to download it.
I assume if you have to download it, it costs money, so I don't check.
I mean, it's
Okay.
a good, it's a good
He
assumption.
got this kind of really gruff. He began every story with no shit. There I was
So you should just play it again.
Yeah, no, not to.
walking down the runway at a fashion show. I thought my jacket fit a little weird, but it wasn't a jacket at all. It was a Krogan warlord. He began throwing grenades everywhere. I had to take one of the fashion models hostage and barely got away. Burned down that old place. Never found a jacket that fit quite right, though.
He's South Africa. He's from Space South Africa. He's
Space
mercenary.
Austral Africa.
Yeah, they all merged together.
All right,
after
so-
the war.
Let's take the Garrus Alistair Karth character
Galarth.
Is Garrus and Alistair kind of the same? Yeah, I guess. Kind of the magician.
with Caden. Yeah,
Yeah, they're all,
All right.
little bitches.
your sidekick, right? What does it look like if you towards the end of the game have like really high trust and really low affection because you've turned them into someone they don't want to?
They're kind of it's kind of like they had something with Garrus in Mass Effect 1 where you can push him to be more of a ruthless renegade cop like he wants to be, or you can push him against his will to be an upstanding citizen. And then in Mass Effect 2 in the beginning you get a mention of what he did after Mass Effect 1 where he'll say if he was allowed to keep going in that renegade way he wanted to, then he tries to reapply for the Spectres, but he gets blocked off. And if you make him a more of an upstanding guy, then he goes and rejoins CSAC, but then he goes, this is not getting anything done, and he leaves.
So it
changes
does it changes the flavor text
To inspire
essentially.
him to fail.
That's not
All
bad.
right, but how would it change in this hypothetical game with
where
that doesn't fail?
where your decisions actually matter from game to game.
Our Garrus expert, what do you have to say? What is Garrus? How does Garrus interact with a leader that
Well,
he
that's
really
a Garrus
trusts
expert,
but doesn't like?
Like narratively, not physically.
Come on, Commander. You got this.
All right.
I think we have a different Garrus expert.
Okay, so wait, what was the question again?
If Garrus really hates you but trusts you, how does he interact with you?
Commander, I can't improvise this. I think honestly, calibrations.
No, that's why
I
can't
think
read.
honestly, Garrus would he would give you a speech towards the end about every single reason that it would go back to all the different decisions you've made that have made him angry. He'd spit it all in your face and yell at you. And he'd say, "But I would follow you to the ends of the earth because I am your sidekick."
And also, we're already at the ends of the earth.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So I've already followed you this
We're
far.
already here, and you have the only.
He'd
way
probably
home.
be a little less like Garrus at least was. He had this very very kind of charming levity to him. He'd probably be a little more business unless you push him to be less business. It really depends on the character, honestly.
So in this hypothetical game, do you think it would be a good idea to have the degree of control you have over your party members be based on how much they trust you?
That would be entirely dependent on.
What kind of game it is?
Yeah, like if we were
So
doing.
do you think it could work?
Yeah, no, there's definitely a way you get that to work. Getting it good is where that's what's going to take like 2 years of making a game. Is
Yeah.
like fine tuning it and finding out what works there. Because if you were to make like a tactical shooter, not like Mass Effect where you're on the ground, but more like XCOM but in real time, like you're above and you can see everything.
That just doesn't work if they don't just do what you say.
Yeah, but then if you could find a way to like, oh, but this is my dude, or this is my sidekick, or my second in command, and he has the trust of these guys, so I'm going to send them over to group area 2
Mass
to do
Effect
stuff.
kind of did that with the you couldn't directly control your teammates. You could tell them to take cover in an area or to shoot at a target.
They would fucking ignore you.
Yeah, so
But
really
if they trusted you.
I mean, in a turn-based RPG, Persona 3, you couldn't control your teammates. You kind of give them suggestions. I think I never actually played it, but I have a friend who played it. And Persona 4, they begin with you not being able to directly control your teammates, and then midway through they say, "Hey, senpai, can you just tell me what to do?" And then you just control them like a normal
Yeah,
RPG.
so-
but
you
you
can
can
toggle an option.
toggle an option. But in Persona 3, it was default like it was untoggled,
So think of
and it was annoying.
games, or for a quick tangent here that'll help us out. What games can we think of where you have indirect control of people that you that you like, that you don't like?
Skyrim.
The one that comes to mind most for me and indirect control is black and white.
Yeah, I was about to think of the same thing.
Entirely control everybody indirectly. I mean, all you can do is like place building blueprints and a couple other things like that. Build the buildings.
People
and,
take
like,
forever to do
set
it.
disciples, but then fucking have no control of whether the disciples can actually do his fucking job or not.
It really is like being God.
Yeah. Worship me.
You talk to people, but then the people just kind of don't interpret you correctly.
It's really easy to just kill everyone. Really hard to make them do anything successful.
Surrealism, we're talking about a game.
You know you want to go read stuff black and white. Stop it. It's like
It's so bad.
it was Black and White 2 was fun, kind of as an RTS
Way
game.
too easy.
You could be an RTS
I
game,
could never be evil enough not to get a culture victory.
but they were like, if you go to war, you're evil, and I'm like, but I'm being attacked by the samurai.
Yeah, but then the enemy surrenders because they want to be part of my awesome civilization that's full of tenements and sacrificial altars and burning houses.
Yeah.
Towards the end, I just set my city on fire to keep my culture from going up. It's still going up too fast.
That's a Molyneux. That's a Molyneux right there.
You set your city on fire? Yes. To stop yourself from getting immortal.
God has
victory.
blessed us with fire.
I think my people, after all the torture, were a little masochistic.
Yeah. Okay.
You've just created a culture at this point.
No, just
Oh shit,
a
that's why it's a
cult.
culture victory.
Oh my god.
Okay. So other games where you control people indirectly. I
I
can't think of anything that like we've all played. I played again for like the tactical shooter thing. Sorry, that's my thing. Ghost Recon, where you like could control yourself and then tell your allies where to go, and they would like exactly go where you clicked on the ground and stuff. You know, unlike Mass Effect, where like half the time they get to the right point, and then they'd be like, yeah, and then the other time they'd just be standing there like,
Take cover.
yeah, what are you doing?
Love of God,
I told you
take
where the good cover is.
Well, Dragon Age had a kind of a cool mechanic where you could program your allies to do certain actions in certain conditions. Like, hey, when your health is low, drink a health potion. Or, hey, when you're not actively being shot, you should buff all of us.
Wow.
Okay, so
And then the more smart your character was, the more of those things you could program into them.
Yeah. Any other?
all right. So I mentioned Skyrim. You don't have direct control of your companion. What if the level of control you had over someone like a Skyrim companion was dependent on trust?
So in Skyrim, I knew this. I looked into the code behind the scenes. There are actually different levels of how much people will follow you and put up with your bullshit.
Really?
Yeah. People who are your housecarl, I think it's called, have the highest one, and so they'll just follow you exactly forever all the time and not report you for doing crimes. But it's like some people will report you for doing crimes. Some people will report you for doing crimes up to like X amount. And it's mostly like about kind of the crime thing. But it's just kind of a cool aside that like this.
Okay,
is more
so
there.
let's run with that here, and let's say if they like you, they'll ignore bad things you do. If they trust you, they won't run away when the fight gets bad.
Yeah. All right.
What about
So-
if you steal something in front of someone? Some characters might actually like you more if you did that.
What if
If you cut them in.
hey, what if there was a mechanic? I'm trying to think. Dawn of War 2 had a thing where your units would break. They had the morale mechanic in there. What if that was kind of incorporated so that people who trusted you more were less likely to break when you were like with them and giving them orders and stuff?
Yeah.
All right,
Because then you
So-
still have the control, but then it breaks at a point, and it's not like
Well,
you have a 10% chance of your command.
now it becomes the thing where Feather was talking about with Dragon Age 2. It's like there's a rivalry mechanic, but I just want to make everyone like me. Now it's an issue of, well, it's just say the thing that makes them trust you. Like distrust might be.
Sorry, no, go ahead.
No, you go. I wasn't really thinking about what I was saying.
Okay, well, I was just going to suggest that we, I'm comparing this to Elder Scrolls now. What if we make a game where you don't really need companions? Like, they're a bonus. They can help you resolve situations more easily. But if you want to, you can alienate everyone just to see what that does, and then do the game on your own.
You know, I've always wondered, but I've been too afraid of losing all my friends.
Oh, Fallout 4. Fallout 4 has done a thing where what you do, your companions will react. You can only have one companion at a time, but I found out that when you have a home base, all of your companions in eyesight of you will start reacting to things you do, which is annoying because I'm like, oh, I'm going to go back to my home base and I'm going to repair my armor. I sit there and I hear like simultaneously the paladin goes, nothing like a good suit of armor. And then someone else says, oh, what you making there? You make me something. And like 5 people will start talking to me at once. They'll say, they approved, they disapproved. Ugh. But anyway, I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about again?
I think.
God damn it. Sorry, we were talking.
So episode 9 here, sounding board.
Where was I? All right. Welcome to Sounding Board.
Yeah.
A whole year.
My name is Dionan. I kind of lost track of everything after that.
Yeah.
Corey?
Yeah. Shoot.
So, just a way to make both having people dislike you and distrust you just as good as liking you and trusting you.
Alienating everyone.
Well, they could just kind of become the villain.
Oh, what if there's certain characters where if they trust you a ton, they won't provide any guidance? So having a character distrust you might actually be tactical in some situations.
It's a way to shut off the tutorial, make everyone trust you.
Yeah. Guys are so awesome. Stop telling me what to do.
You might not get a good suggestion from someone if they just trust you too much.
All right, so if there's like a heavy puzzle element, people might just solve the game or solve puzzles for you.
That's actually pretty interesting.
But they'll assume you can do it if they trust you.
Zelda. Who has anybody played the new Zelda game, Breath of the Wild?
No, but I've
No,
seen a lot of
literally
stuff
no
about
one.
it.
No one in the world.
That one guy who realized a Wii U was not a Wii.
Oh. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, it's on Wii U as well.
But so I've
Wait,
seen
as well,
a couple
it's on
reviews of
something
it, and
else.
it's like
It's on
this
Switch.
really expansive open world
Right,
thing.
the other thing.
And it seems like something like that, where it's just kind of you bumbling around the world, exploring dungeons, and like doing some puzzles here and there. Might lend itself to like you can go befriend a companion and then go out on adventures with them.
All right.
From what I've heard, Breath of the Wild, you can beat the final boss just from the beginning of the game, but as you complete the 4 major dungeons, you befriend nations and civilizations of people who will help you against the final boss.
So we were talking about making it so that somebody who distrusts and dislikes you do something. I said like, oh, make him the villain. What if it was someone who they didn't? So they distrusted, they didn't like you, so they thought that if you were going to fight the big bad, that you're going to make it worse. So they're actively trying to stop you from doing that.
Oh, kind of like the original plan for Oscar from Dark Souls. Originally, the guy who gave you the Estus Flask in the beginning was going to take the path you didn't take in the end game because he assumed that what you were doing wasn't correct because he thought he was the chosen one.
Interesting.
All right.
Yeah.
So in order to incentivize that, I know in a lot of games, RPGs in particular, that don't have random encounters, every enemy is precious because that's XP and money. So what if the companions who you turn against you are worth XP in a finite system?
Oh no.
Oh my god, you are a monster!
Call of the week.
Overtale, everybody must die.
I almost true named you, calling you you're such a monster.
You bastard.
Oh my god. That all I can think about now is my stepfather's card game, where I'm gonna true name him. I'm gonna put a name where Clinton figured that the optimal strategy was massacring all of his peasants so that he had a higher chance of drawing his better cards.
Yeah, I mean that makes
So he would intentionally go into battles against vampires who killed all low-level cards so that he could cull his deck of the week.
beautiful.
It's like I don't understand. This game has been solved. Like,
So if you drop companions away, maybe you have a chance to get new ones.
Ah.
Like maybe it's randomly generated.
the
who
Ebon
you're
Hawk is
allotted.
only so big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess you can't just kick them out for some reason. Oh wait, no. Maybe if you kick them out, it makes other people dislike you. But if they leave, then they're the bad guy.
All right,
my
we're pretty
God.
deep into social simulation here.
that's actually pretty interesting. You know, if you kick out Mission, you'll probably piss people off. But if you kick out like HK47, not a lot of characters will really care.
Everybody
about it.
likes
Turn
you
him
more.
off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you kick out Zalbar, like I can see cards just being like, "Oh, that's kind of rude." But if you kick out like,
Why would you do that? He was the only one who could lift the food crates.
"Why would you do that, man?" Now I gotta go find a droid to do that. But if you like kick out,
droid was the
if you
best,
kick out,
though.
but if you kick out like mission, Karth would get like really upset. You're like, that girl can't fend for herself. It's like, but she has.
Yeah, she's been doing that constantly.
Shut up, Karth.
Karth, you can't fend for yourself.
Do you want to shut up, Karth?
Do you want to go back into the Karth box?
I don't want to go in the Karth box.
Because right now you're telling me you want to go in the box.
Look, all right, we'll just drop it.
I can't eat it because I just see this cage.
Or maybe distrust
He is
isn't the bottom. Maybe fear is the bottom.
I think there should be a fear option.
Trust, fear,
Well, I was actually-
affection, hate.
I was gonna actually
better to be loved. Call the game The Prince.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, then maybe in this game you don't even have any solo actions. Maybe you have. Maybe you send people on missions and get feedback.
Oh yeah.
Like kind of like on XCOM, the commander is not like an actual.
Yeah,
like,
except
character.
without tactical control.
That could either be really cool or really frustrating.
Well, this just scaled back from an Elder Scrolls game to a text pop-up game.
Yeah, we had
So
talked about,
it's much more attainable now.
yeah, we talked about this in a previous episode of Sounding Board, where we talked about trying to make a mobile game, where it was like the Heroes Guild thing, where you're running a Heroes Guild,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh,
you like gather heroes and then send them out.
All right. So say you have your trust affection mechanic. If they really like you, they're going to try their best on a mission, and if they really trust you, they'll take the missions you tell them to.
They won't steal the money and they'll pay their dues on time.
Well, that's affection or fear.
Wow.
So distrust and fear are two very different things. We'd have to kind of change the mechanics we talked about.
All right.
prior
Maybe
to
there
this.
needs to be more than two
I
sliders
was
here.
actually
All right,
going to
now we're going
going
into
to say
PhD
that
territory.
why not add a third dimension to our sliders of
That's dangerously
Space.
close to the number of dimensions I live in.
too bad.
It's still a little low. I don't know. Maybe fear can just be a toggle.
You're not actually a god. Come down to our level.
Well, not that you can perceive.
Anyways, don't go to black and white again.
It's a good game. It was just executed poorly.
Well, it was an interesting game.
It wasn't
a very good game.
It certainly was its own kind of genre game.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a Civ game, apparently.
Anywho, so a third.
So fear being a meter versus a toggle. Like at this point, you have done enough that they fear you. Switch on.
like reversing an Arcana and Persona.
In that it is a switch, but not in any other way.
No, so okay. So you have the 2-axis system with the affection and trust. And then on top of that, you could mix it with not their own axis of whether or not they trust or love the guy or whatever.
Whether your general reputation is to be loved or feared.
Yeah, so your general reputation. So like your light side,
cool.
dark side, or your hero or paragon or whatever.
Renegade and Paragon
Yeah.
is separate from your companions.
And like
combining
the
those
karma
background
system,
package.
or like just a good or evil type of thing, that generic kind of thing. So like, oh, you do a lot of evil stuff, but I trust you, or I don't really trust you, and you do a lot of evil stuff, so I'm afraid of you because I don't get what you're doing. That might be a way to spin it in there without needing to add that extra data per every single NPC.
Well, yeah, but then you're adding extra data to your character.
Well, yeah, but it might be there already. That's
I guess
adding
it
one thing
could
isn't
be.
the same as adding.
Maybe how much you like and trust yourself.
Whoa!
Oh my god.
We just
I'm
making
afraid-
it goes self-esteem issues the game.
At some point,
If you
just say-
dislike yourself.
Then he was making Persona!
yourself.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
wait, no, Persona, he never had self-esteem
Full
issues.
circle.
No, he was immune.
Yeah, no, he was
He was something.
something.
It was like that girl from Psychopaths. She's completely clear.
The main character in Persona 4 is different. Oh, I punched the wrong guy.
Happens.
I am the king.
Should leave. That part is amazing.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else? I mean, simplified human interactions. Is there anything other than, affection, trust, fear that we need to include for boiled down bare bones?
So really, I think we've gone above and beyond bare bones in
Oh, yeah.
Easter egg fashion.
Okay,
so
bare bones,
we're
but
at,
still interesting.
we're at
because let's
our
face
bare
it,
bones thing.
Influence level is just kind of dull. You want to maximize influence so that they like you, so you can unlock their
Well,
loyalty
so
mission, so you can get the bonus item.
Yeah, so you're saying it's dull. It lacks depth.
Yeah.
It's
So-
I need to get this meter to go up, and we're making a system where like, where on this 2-axis chart should I be?
To get
Right.
this character to do the thing I
Sort
want
of
them to
expanding
do.
on the one good thing Dragon Age 2 did.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, like you're talking, you can be someone's villain, like not really like that they're villain, but just their nemesis, something to drive them. They don't trust you. Like Maybe that guy who's
Rival-
trying.
rival
you
is
can
the
just tell them not to do. You can just use reverse psychology.
Yeah, and what's wrong with
Beautiful.
that?
That's awesome.
The prince.
All right. Well, I do like this title and idea. If the social dynamic is going to be most of the game, then
Certainly
what's
seems
the
like
rest?
What else is there in life?
An
Most of
ancient evil has awakened.
it. All right.
That was a joke.
Can you seduce it?
No, not getting into
Going
Moon
to try.
Hunters here. Oh my god. We played an RPG called Moon Hunters, and one of the ways to defeat the final boss, you can either fight the final boss, you can find a way to free the moon, or you can seduce the final boss, and then one of your party will run away with it and elope with it.
I like that. I wanted to
Yeah, jerk.
we had to find
I
the ancient
ditched-
Kama Sutra. The techniques to defeat it.
We decided we wanted to defeat the final boss in one way, so my character spent every single time we had a camping interaction just like taking a nap and getting her beauty sleep, and then like working
Which
on how
raises
charming she
charisma.
was. And then the final boss, it just seduced him, and then I
His
just
eyes
left.
turned into hearts.
It looked
Like,
really silly because it didn't match the game's arts.
And then
No.
your fucking legend said you stayed behind to take on the Sun Army by yourself.
yeah, it said that I
Fine.
like died fighting, and
It implied it.
all right.
Anywho.
So what else would be in this game?
Is the game
Is it
called-
just mission control? The prince.
Well, affection and love,
I
I,
kinda
think, should
wanna-
be different.
I kind
Like, if we did want to add a romance thing.
Well, if you have so much control over these people, I mean, you can decide who's a romance option.
Yeah.
True.
You are the
But
prince.
okay, would we want to be? Would we want to just make it one of those? Well, you could capstone your affection with someone, kind of like, and correct me if I'm getting this wrong, but Fire Emblem.
oh my god, yes.
When you do enough interactions with someone and you have an S-ranked relationship,
S
they
rank
get
means
married
you
or
married
something.
them.
Yeah. So would we
Or
want
A
something like
plus
that, or
rank
would
if
we
they're
want
a
to make
dude.
love, romance, whatever, a completely different from affection?
No, I'd say it's based off of the same two mechanics, but
Yeah.
also maybe some other stuff.
So as for the game, Prince, let's think of the rest of the game.
I
for a minute.
can't help but just really want a Mass Effect Dragon Age style game for the prince, just because.
Why don't we just knock off the prince entirely and set it in you're an Italian prince and you're vying for the crown
Oh,
or something like that?
it's like playing as.
I don't know.
Yeah, so not
Bastion.
like
I don't know how I feel
what's
about
it?
games without fantasy elements,
Crusade-
or at least science fiction.
Crusader Kings 2, I
We'll
think
thro
it
in a
is.
laser gun.
Has like a
it'll be
really,
fine.
really
Oh my
just
God.
Yeah.
in-depth kind of
That's
I
system
what
for
makes
that.
you-
I have
Ruler.
Crusader Kings 2. I still don't feel like I'm doing it right.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad that my king is seen as crazy.
No,
by
I
people.
still haven't played it, but the idea of like it's just a social game. You go around talking to people and telling them what to do, because like you're locked in the castle, or like a freaking Long Live the Queen. Like you're just kind of stuck in the castle and you talk things and like learn skills and then chat with people.
I
get them
did
to
like
do things
the
for you.
emotional component of Long Live the Queen.
Yeah, so like you just did that, but then like you were doing that so that like I don't know, your brother who's out leading campaigns of war doesn't get the crown.
You tie into that planet.
So you're
game.
trying to snake the crown out from under.
Yes, or something else. You're trying to snake the crown out from everybody.
Didn't
Okay.
one of our first episodes we talked about a game where it's like a civilization style game where you're trying to compete for
Yes,
planetary-
human resources.
human resources.
Yeah, that was the first episode.
Oh,
that was episode 1, the second episode.
Human resources. Anyways, I just kind of want a fantasy adventure, but I'm
Yeah,
bored.
there's plenty of fantasy. But
Okay.
and we can make it a fantasy kingdom. You can still be like trying to get to snake the crown.
So well, for one thing, your brother could still be off doing war, and you just do much smaller missions with basic combat. But if we do that, then it's kind of hard to design a system where low trust and low affection are useful.
Mm.
The game would be the challenge
yeah.
would be increasing trust and affection. So it would just be a make the numbers go up situation, which isn't necessarily bad, but it's a little less nuanced.
What if
than
you're
what
like
I was
a
picturing?
vizier and you're like advising people?
Okay.
That way, you know, it's not just about being loved and trusted. You have a character that's set up to be the prince, and you're, I don't know, because if you're, I didn't think that thought all the way through.
That's fine.
I was just
That's why
thinking
we're
like
here.
because if you're just trying to make your love, your affection, and your trust go up if you're trying to vie for the crown. But if you're not the one vying for the crown, you're the one manipulating things behind the scenes. You can afford to not be trusted by certain people.
Well, afford to, but it's still not a good thing.
Going off of that, what if there are two options? Like, say you're the prince home, like at the kingdom, and the crown prince is out away doing stuff, and you want to undermine him. But there's an option to either undermine him or make things cushy for him when he comes home.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to undermine him, there is a group of people that you would want to raise trust with, so they could be your royal court backing you. But also, how do I want to say this? Like the court that's loyal to your brother who is away, if
If they distrust you, they won't think of you as a threat.
yes, well,
Not
if the- no,
necessarily.
if the,
You know what I mean? Or
No.
like
Well, I
distrusting
understand the
would like
idea, it
get
just
them
doesn't
on your
quite
case
fit.
and be like suspicious, so they would be hounding you a little more. That sounded a lot better in my head before I started saying words.
Wait,
But
Well,
No problem. That's why
Hang
it's a
on,
sounding
hang on.
board.
all right, we can just restrict your possibility space here.
Nice.
What if
Buzzwords.
some characters you just can't max their trust out? They'll never trust you because like they have too much history.
I watched.
So if you try to increase their trust, you're just going to waste your effort. But if you
Okay.
make them distrust you and then you make them think you don't want them to do the thing, they'll do the thing.
fair.
Nice.
That's interesting.
Nice.
So more
So-
manipulation
So
then.
you have to learn
Yeah.
more about the character to figure out what's optimal for them. That's,
Yeah.
that's actually kind of cool.
If you make them just distrust you enough that they consider you a waste of time, and they just don't bother with you anymore. Like you try and say hello, and they're like, no, and they go away.
Yeah.
And so you are free to do whatever without them being on your case.
You
Or
make
just
it
make them hate you so much they leave.
Yes.
make a
Nice.
young upstart adventurer hate you so much, but also make it seem as though you're affiliated with your brother, and then send him as a missile against your brother.
Yeah.
There we go.
Kill his parents, say your brother sent you.
Oh my god! Pretend you're the mini boss. Pretend you're the mini
Yeah.
boss, and then when he dramatically confronts you near the end,
Surrender, say your brother made you do it. Beg him to save you.
oh
we
my
go.
god!
We have one
The
ending.
prince.
We have one path.
Title card.
Yeah, it's like Long Live
Prince
the Queen.
Xanatos.
It's like Long Live the Queen, except for it's all about how people interpret you instead of how good your personal skills are.
Yeah. You still need to be able to dance very well, though. Very important.
Yeah, no, there is a save the day with song and dance ending.
There always
For
has
the
to
love
be
of
a-
God, no first aid. Don't push the arrow through.
Man.
That
That always-
helps, right?
Who didn't die that way?
I didn't.
Don't lie to me.
I died. I got into a magic fight with a guy.
I did
and
that
I was
way
like, my
too.
magic is maxed
I
out. And it's like, now you
Do
made a
not
magic
believe
sword.
you if you say that is the first time you died in that game.
No, the
because
first time I
that's
died was
bullshit.
against bandits, and I.
Yeah, you got shot.
You got shot with an arrow.
Then if your
Wait, did you
battlefield
not have the
medicine,
arrow?
Did you
if
just
your
not have
medicine
first
is below
aid?
The
70,
carriage.
I don't remember how I died.
if your
Okay.
battlefield medicine is below 70, you try to push the arrow through you to get it out. And that's why I can't play that game anymore, because it's really hard to raise your battlefield medicine to 70 and do different things.
Yeah.
I
The
never.
game was so
The
good.
second playthrough, I never encountered the bandits. I guess I did.
Yeah, you have to be too afraid to go on to go to the party.
But it's a party.
I started grinding my ability to have a queenly presence.
Yeah, so if you increase willful to get your magic, yeah, we're getting off topic.
So we can talk about how to be a princess another day.
Yeah, princess is another game.
Now we're talking about how to
I
be a
love
prince.
I love the prince game. I just love that idea of orchestrating some manipulative bastard thing to make a hero hate you, and he's like the hero of another adventure. You know,
Yeah.
he's like
He's the hero of this adventure. You're just the villain of this adventure.
I like it if the hero of this adventure
You
is just
can
one
be
of the characters. Like
villain.
you could manipulate the shopkeepers. You could manipulate the vizier that is trying to vie for power on his own.
Your
but, you know,
co-vizier.
yeah, the guy who's out of his league, but he thinks that he can mastermind his way to your brother's trust.
You even got a parrot and everything.
My God.
Named after a character from Othello.
Yeah.
Othello, actually.
If you had a parrot named Othello, I would love that so much.
That would be
Okay.
great. Let's do it.
That'd be
Put
great.
it in. I have a parrot model.
So certain characters
Thank you, Kale.
can only have their certain characters can't have their trust or affection maxed out because they already hate you too much, but they can be manipulated. It's easier to manipulate them if they are at the extremes of emotion, right?
Or there's someone who can never hate you. No.
Your
Anyway.
mom or something. Well, no, not your mom.
Anyways,
Just killed a man.
No, your brother.
Oh yeah. Oh
No
yeah.
matter what you do to him, you're still bros. So it's with a heavy heart that he'll kill you.
oh my
I
god,
still love you. Really?
That's the good ending. Um,
hell.
Good.
Yeah, you lose.
Yeah, everything made me a bad guy.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
question, are we trying to make a game about a prince or the evil vizier?
The
Which
evil
is
prince.
Yeah, the evil prince.
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll manipulate the
I'm
vizier.
imagining the box art for this game, and it is hilarious. Like, it's just the most. It's just Joffrey, really.
You
Just
do have the
Joffrey in a
option to be
box.
the good guy. It's just
Not with that face.
it's not how I was playing.
I know.
I think we know that now.
I always play light side, but this is so much more interesting than dark side.
Yeah.
It's
Dark side is just strangle an orphan and steal his one
Once you
credit.
could do all the cool stuff Creo was always talking about,
Yeah.
then
Ow, you can't help that one person because now people are going to beat him up.
what if I improve the economy? What
What if I kill them?
Shut up.
How many people do I have to kill before this stops being a problem? Turns out 24.
It's like, oh my god, this is working a little too well.
Only 20 if you burn him to death.
Ah.
you can only shoot lightning.
All right, so the other gameplay mechanics, we could add your standard fantasy world like dungeon crawler in there and just not involve your social interactions directly, or maybe it's just another opportunity to manipulate people. Like it's only ever a solo combat game. The other people are there, but
You can also run it like Racketeer, where you run like Racketeer is a game where you ran a shop,
yeah,
and it was outside of a dungeon or something like that.
it was outside of many dungeons because that world made no sense.
Anyways,
Fantasy.
But what element were you talking about?
oh, just the idea of other people are going on these adventures in dungeons, and you're supporting them
All right.
and advising them.
So part of your duties as the younger expendable son is to like, maybe you're a guard captain. You have to go do. You have to go to dangerous areas, fight things, and while you're there, you can talk to your fellow guards and manipulate them.
You have one son for politics, one son for the military, and one for the church.
Yeah. And you
That sounds like a noble family and less like a royalty, but
Well, royalty tend to be noble families.
no.
well, but you see what I'm getting at,
I see
though.
what you're getting at, but
Like
that's-
if you're royalty, you're either
Maybe you have to
online
kill
for
a few
the
people to get to the crown.
you're either in line for
Oh, I
the
get
crown or
That's a
you're
Code
gonna
Geass-
marry
it's
someone
a Code
else.
Geass game now.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Genius. You can get magic powers that let you interact with
Directly
mechanics.
manipulate people, but you only
No.
do it once per person.
No. Just if you activate the cheat code, it says you gained the power of Geass.
Nice.
Just you get to ignore a bunch of mechanics and just blitz right for the ending.
Finally. I thought this was going to take way longer.
We're not going to do a Far Cry 4 situation where if you sit still and wait for 10 minutes in the beginning of the game, you can beat it.
No, we should, though.
Yeah, it was pretty great. And the character, it made sense that he was the kind of guy that if he said, oh, I'll be right back, and then you hear gunfire downstairs, if you waited, he would have gone back upstairs and go, all right, just resume what I was going to help you with.
Oh, thank you.
And he also spoils all the plot beats of the game, talking to you in the helicopter.
That's how I beat the game.
All right, so the Grand Vizier offers you a chance for power. Follow me if you wish to be king.
All right.
Walks out, and if you don't follow him, game over.
The vizier has died. Good job. You win. What?
So no, if you walk to the king, hey, the Grand Vizier said I could be king. You should do something about it.
Yeah, that's fine. You're king now. Dad, that's not.
Oh God, you're senile. Let's get a notary in here.
You have the secret ending of the game is you realize all this manipulation wasn't necessary, and all you had to do was just ask.
Your dad before he was too sick to talk it, not talk or anything. So
Oh, I just want to sway your brother.
the vizier character, I'm imagining you're starting the game, doing the normal stuff, and there's the tutorial that's integrated well with
The vizier
game.
is your tutorial.
Yeah.
It teaches you to manipulate.
That he teaches you how to manipulate things, but I think we really need to do this in total Sith fashion, where
The vizier is your mentor.
you're completing the tutorial is getting your master kills. I think that would be
I
awesome.
kind of love that.
Yeah, because there's just no good games about the Sith. Okay,
Yeah, they haven't made a Gurren Lagann.
They never
game
made a
yet.
Gurren Lagann game.
one day.
At least I hope
Very
they didn't,
familiar with
because they
that?
would have sucked.
Yeah.
No, the Gurren Lagann are the Sith thing that we talk about.
All right. So for our viewers at home, Gurren Lagann is an anime about the Sith, but not.
Specifically,
Fueled with passion.
about a group of people who operate machines that are fueled by their fighting spirit, and it's their will to victory, their refusal to ever be defeated or back down, that allows them to achieve higher and higher levels of power. Yeah, they're like,
through force, their chains are broken.
yeah, denying their emotions would just make them completely worthless.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about
So
Sith as the good guys.
Yeah, or at least the good version, who don't get obsessed with political power.
Because you like
Yeah,
every
that's-
time
that's
they've
what
done
you
the
get
Sith in
Rossio.
Star Wars,
Yeah,
it's
I
always
actually
been
like
like,
Rossio.
okay,
I
we
like
got
that
this
he's
cool
there.
philosophy.
Yes, exactly.
Twirly mustaches, have them tie a lady to a friggin' train station.
To a train station.
To a station.
At that point,
Not even the
No.
tracks, just tie her to the station.
Well,
Like
no,
the
no.
dog.
See,
No one will stop her.
The train is carrying a lot of oil, so all you have to do is light it once it gets into the station. Then everybody goes up, not just the damsel.
Huh.
People are trying to save the damsel.
Yup, that's how you get all of them.
That's
Call
how you get
twin.
the heroes.
What?
Oh,
What, it
never
involved
mind.
fire? What'd you
I like
expect?
to set things on fire. There's nothing wrong
No,
with
and
that.
if you could stop, please. I like this coat.
Anyways,
I just think you wanted a different color.
yeah, no, Gurren Lagann is
Nice
about
smell,
Sith.
though.
The anti-spiral are like Jedi.
I see it now.
Yeah, they're all about suppressing their emotions for the good of all.
I see it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I like the Sith. And by the way, viewers at home, if you haven't seen the new Rebels show, for the love of God, watch it.
It's really good.
Amazing. The season finale of season 2
Spoilers.
is magical. It's magical. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, okay.
It's
No
magic.
spoilers.
Yeah. So yeah, you like to finish the tutorial, I guess, like in one method of playing the game. As I'm imagining, you could have like a total Dragon Age Origins system where like your dad or like whoever's in charge of you says, "Go like learn something from one of these guys," or
You
whatever.
pick your mentor instead of picking who you are.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
And then like if you choose the Vizier, like the ultimate, yes, I've learned everything, is getting him killed.
No, or alternatively, you decide not to get him killed. He's genuinely surprised, and if you max out his trust, he's like, "You should actually be king.
Like you're really.
I was going to kill you and steal power, but you should be king."
You could be so kind that people are just like the Jonathan Joestar route.
That wouldn't
Kicked me in
went
the
over his
face.
ear.
your understanding of international politics and economics is, well, you coined the word economics in our world. Like, just, I mean, God.
It's after Grandpa Econos.
Economics with an I love it. It has to be in somewhere. It's an Easter egg. Hey,
Yay!
I like this game.
All
I
right.
like this game.
So I
Jonan,
think we're
make it.
I think
coming close to our final time here.
yeah, we're no longer sounding bored.
Do we
Sounds
have
like it.
final thoughts before we?
Dragon Age 2 is not as bad as I remember it being, unless I remembered it being a little bit worse.
Oh, but Mass Effect 1 is worse than I remember it. Like, going back and playing it, the mechanics are just not tuned at all.
Yeah, it had some
I
great
don't
stuff.
care. It still holds my heart.
No, it's like, it holds mine as well, but like aiming and then getting sucked up to a wall.
It had the spirit of adventure, but it didn't have a lot of the good mechanics. Anyway,
All
and
right.
that concludes our talk on Mass Effect.
Yeah.
And Dragon Age.
BioWare tangents.
Gurren Lagann.
Yeah, keep your eyes open for
Gurren Lagann was a BioWare thing, right?
for the print. I'm pretty sure, yeah.
No, it had a good ending.
Zing!
Ow!
Okay.
All right.